Welcome to Module 8, Section 3 of your B2 Residential Remodeling Contractor Exam Prep Course. This lesson focuses on one of the most serious responsibilities you carry as a licensed contractor, handling hazardous materials, particularly lead and asbestos. These substances can pose significant health risks not only to your workers, but to your clients and their families, especially in residential remodeling work. Proper awareness and handling of hazardous materials isn't just about passing your exam. It's about running a compliant and ethical business that protects everyone involved. Let's begin with lead. Lead-based paint was commonly used in homes built before 1978. It can be found on walls, window frames, doors, trim, and even exterior surfaces. The danger comes not just from the paint itself, but from the dust created when that paint is disturbed. Sanding, scraping, cutting, or demolishing lead-painted surfaces can release tiny particles into the air. These particles can be inhaled or ingested by children, adults, and pets. Lead poisoning can cause serious health problems, including developmental delays in children and neurological damage in adults. As a remodeling contractor, you are legally required to comply with the Environmental Protection Agency's renovation, repair, and painting rule, commonly known as the EPA RRP rule. If you are working in homes or child-occupied facilities built before 1978, the EPA RRP rule requires you to be certified as a LEED-safe renovator and to follow specific work practices to contain and clean up lead dust. These include using plastic sheeting to isolate the work area, sealing vents, covering floors and furniture, using HEPA vacuums, avoiding open flame burning or torching, and following strict cleanup procedures. You must provide homeowners with the EPA's Renovate Right pamphlet before work begins, and you must document your compliance with signed paperwork. Failing to follow the RRP rule can result in fines of up to $43,611 per day per violation. Even more important, violating these rules puts people's health at risk and exposes you to lawsuits, loss of license, or criminal penalties in severe cases. Now let's talk about asbestos. Asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral that was widely used in building materials for decades due to its fire resistance and insulating properties. It's found in products like floor tiles, ceiling tiles, insulation, pipe wrap, siding, roofing, joint compound, and more. When asbestos-containing materials are disturbed, they release tiny fibers into the air that can cause cancer and serious lung diseases, including mesothelioma and asbestosis. Unlike lead, which is dangerous primarily to children, asbestos is a serious risk to everyone exposed. If your remodeling work may involve disturbing materials that contain asbestos, you are legally required to test those materials before proceeding and to follow strict protocols if asbestos is present. In California, Cal/OSHA regulates all work involving asbestos. You cannot legally disturb asbestos-containing materials unless you are a certified asbestos contractor with AC 22 license. That means as a B2 contractor, you must subcontract any asbestos removal or disturbance to a licensed specialist. You are still responsible for identifying the potential presence of asbestos and taking steps to ensure it is handled correctly. That includes obtaining lab testing when materials are suspected to contain asbestos. You cannot assume that just because a material looks modern that it's asbestos-free. Only laboratory testing can confirm the presence or absence of asbestos. There are 6 forms of asbestos, and all are hazardous. In many residential homes, the most common materials that may contain asbestos include 9x9 vinyl floor tiles, popcorn ceilings, vermiculite insulation, and older drywall joint compound. If any of these materials are present in a home built before the mid-1980s, you must treat them as potentially hazardous until proven otherwise. You should never cut, sand, grind, or disturb these materials without proper testing and clearance from a certified asbestos inspector. If asbestos is discovered on your project, you must stop work immediately in the affected area. Notify the property owner, document the location of the suspected material, and arrange for proper abatement by a licensed contractor. Work can resume only after the material has been removed or encapsulated according to legal requirements and you have written clearance. Attempting to deal with it yourself or ignoring the issue can result in major fines, lawsuits, and exposure of your workers to health risks that can surface years later. Keep in mind, workers have the right to know when they are being exposed to hazardous materials, and they have the right to refuse to perform work in unsafe conditions. From an exam standpoint, you should expect questions on the EPA RRP rule, lead safe work practices, when certification is required, and which jobs require testing. You may also see questions on asbestos awareness, such as which materials may contain asbestos, what steps to take if asbestos is suspected, and when subcontracting is required. The CSLB expects you to know not only how to perform safe work, but also how to comply with state and federal regulations. As a business owner, you can also protect yourself by including hazardous materials clauses in your contracts. These clauses should state that the contractor is not responsible for undisclosed hazardous materials, and that if lead or asbestos is discovered, the project may be paused and additional costs may apply for testing and abatement. It's also smart to include language stating that abatement must be performed by licensed professionals and that you will comply with all applicable laws. Having these clauses in place helps set expectations with your clients and provides a legal foundation in case of disputes or delays. Your responsibility as AB to contractor is not just to complete the project, it's to complete it safely, lawfully, and in a way that protects human health. Many clients assume that contractors know how to deal with hazardous materials. If you fail to recognize or handle these materials properly, you may be held liable even years later. That's why it's crucial to be proactive. Train your workers to recognize signs of lead and asbestos. Get certified in lead safe practices if you haven't already. Establish relationships with asbestos testing labs and licensed abatement contractors. And most importantly, create a company culture that values safety over speed or shortcuts. To recap, lead and asbestos are invisible hazards that can be deadly. Their presence is common in older homes, the very structures you're licensed to remodel. Follow the EPA RRP rule for lead and never disturb suspected asbestos without testing. If it's confirmed, subcontract the removal to AC 22 licensed professional. Educate your team, document your work, and never cut corners. Protecting your crew, your clients, and your reputation starts with knowing your responsibilities and following the law. Doing so not only keeps you compliant, it builds trust and shows that you're a contractor who takes your craft and your responsibilities seriously.